Hey, chill. It's Tiggy. Turn it. Yeah. I told y'all I was coming. Thought I played, huh? Hey, I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood and hope I'm living good. I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood and hope I'm living good. I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood and hope I'm living good. I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood. Hope I'm living. Now have you ever had a dream? You make it out the hood. Hey, chill. It's Tiggy. Turn it. Yeah. I told y'all I was coming. Thought I played, huh? Hey, I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood and hope I'm living good.
All right. Thank you so much for attending the Homeless Diaries. My name is Erica Mosley. And can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? We were just chatting up a little bit before the show came on. Tell the audience more about yourself, LeRon.
Yes, ma'am. My name is, I'm sorry, first off, Miss Mosley, thank you for allowing me to be on the show. I really appreciate it. I never take it for granted. I'm always blessed and honored to be on another platform. I'm sorry. My name is LeRon Barton. I'm a writer, journalist, speaker, and author. I live in San Francisco, from Kansas City, Missouri, South Side. I write a lot about race, mass incarceration, politics, tech, business, dating. I'm an author of 2 books, Straight Dope, a 360-degree look into American drug culture, as well as All We Really Need Is Love. Sorry, like my neck. Stories of dating, relationships, heartbreak, and marriage. I've written for publications such as Salon, Black Enterprise, Your Tango, Rankateur, Elephant Journal, East Bay Express. I'm also a TEDx speaker, and I'm just happy to be on this program today.
And are you originally from the Bay Area?
No, ma'am. So I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Been in the Bay Area since 2012. Moved here from San Diego, California.
Okay, so how did you get into, the writing, and how did you get into, helping out with the community? How did you get into your expertise?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. So, I've been writing since I was really young. My parents, like my mother and my grandparents, they have always encouraged me to write. And so I'm such a big reader, and it's like writing came natural. It's my favorite thing to do in the entire world. And so I would like draw like little comic books, like writing little stories. And so I ended up going to a creative writing high school in Kansas City, Missouri, Sale Academy of Fine Arts. Met a really influential teacher in my life, Mr. Stan Banks, and he was like a father figure to me. He introduced me to the great writers, James Joyce, F. Scott Fitzgerald. He really got me into Langston Hughes, who would end up being like my favorite poet of all time. And so I just, from there, and until 2012, when I moved to the Bay Area, that I began shaping my first book. And I believe it was around 2013, 2014 is when I started writing op-eds. I started to write for a publication called The Good Men Project. And slowly but surely, about like my experiences as a young Black man in America. And it was just simply grow from there. And Erica, I always want to be of service. She once told me that if you're not doing anything, if you're not helping out, you're not doing anything. And I just want to talk about the experience of the young Black man in America, because I feel like that we are often shunned, that people are like, I don't want to hear it. And so I wanted to bring that to the forefront, but also, and by writing about these critical subjects, I believe I also wanted to encourage others to write. And so what I was doing pre-COVID, like everything is just pre and post now, is that I was teaching a writing class in the San Francisco County Jail, just working with the stories, poetry, essays, and it's truly like one of the greatest things in my life, because I believe that as a writer, we have three responsibilities. One is to quote the great Ernest Hemingway, try to write something different than what's out there currently. And three, which is also equally important, is to encourage others to write. And so that's what I try to embody in my writing today.
So I love that's the fact that you say you try to, want to make people continue to write, because I wrote a book called Trapped in the Homeless Hustle, and my main thing is to make sure the community is self-sufficient. So I go to tech companies, and I also go to places like Glide to educate people that you need to be creative, especially during COVID-19. What are you doing to be self-sufficient, and what can you tell my audience when I go someone that's experiencing homeless, someone that's transitioning from homeless, or someone that's couch surfing right now? How can they be creative? Do you think writing is a way to get out of it?
So one of the most important lessons I ever learned is to journal. That's something that Mr. Banks was always big on. It's like, it's sort of a writing exercise, because one thing about a writer, he or she writes, right? So it's always good to just kind of like put your thoughts down, on a piece of paper. Like right now, I'm reading a book called The Writer's Way by Julia. I forget her last name, but one of the things she always recommends is to do your morning pages, which is like before you do anything, before you start writing, write in your journal just 3 pages of just anything, just sort of get it on the paper. And, we're always going to be faced with some sort of catastrophe, some sort of condition in life. And so we're always going to need documentarians. And so I think it's really important for, just on a personal level, for you to just sort of write down what's going on with you, write down what you think. And it's I think that there's always going to be a need for stories to be told, right? And one of the things that I'm always on is that everyone should tell their story, right, Erica? And so with this coronavirus pandemic, there's going to be so many different narratives. And so I feel like that the homeless narrative, or people who are houseless, I think it'll be really important to hear, what was it like to be houseless at the time of the corona? What were you able to do? What couldn't you get your hands on? And so I'm really, really interested in those stories.
And yes, and that goes, what were you doing during the coronavirus? And also, what were you doing during this Black Lives Matters, right? Because it went from the coronavirus to the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So you were home.
Yeah, it's almost like the coverage just shifted. I've just really been kind of laying low. I go outside. I tend to walk a lot. I've been working out a lot at home. But Erica, to be honest with you, I've just been kind of like laying low, and just when I have to go on site for my job, I do so. But now what I've been doing is like, I've been watching the news. I've been seeing what's going on. I've been keeping abreast. I write about race primarily. So I wrote a piece about Ahmaud Arbery in the terms of why people fear Black men. And so with this situation, I'm doing a lot of spoken word. I'm really keeping track of what's going on. And so it's one of those things, Erica, where it's like people are just fed up. You know what I mean? Like, when you're not listened to, you're gonna yell. That's a quote that I read, and that's pretty much that succinctly sums up what's going on here. Like, just generations of just Black people have been brutalized, have been terrorized by the police. And so when we feel like for Black people, the justice system has never worked for us, right or wrong.
Right.
And so when a cop can just be on camera, kill somebody, right? Kill the man. And people are like, well, we need to investigate that. Investigate what? He killed him on camera. And the fact that they did not arrest him right away, like if that was anybody else, if that was a Black cop, if that was just a Black person, if that was a person, we can't say if that, because of what happened to Ahmaud Arbery, but if that was a Black man or a Black police officer, he would have been detained quickly. So I always say, you got to give the people what they want, man. And we want justice. And so I don't condone the violence that's happening, Erica, but I don't condemn it because it's like, look, man, like, at the end of the day, we gotta, you have to give us justice, man. I mean, like, the thing about it is, we're not asking for anything out of the ordinary. You know what I mean? We're not asking for diamonds. We're just asking to be treated fairly.
Do you feel rioting is, the answer, or do you feel kneeling is the answer?
I'm sorry, rising or
rioting? Do you feel like protesting is the answer, or do you feel like, rioting, or do you feel like, what's the answer? What do you feel the answer that they will hear?
I don't know, because we're all living this in real time. This has been a continuous thing that Black folks have been going through probably since the Middle Passage, right? I mean, Black people have always had to fight for basic human rights, right? We had to fight to be free. I mean, if you think about that, right? We've had to fight to not be property. Just put that all out into perspective. Then it's like,
but we still are property, because your last name is not your last name; it's a slave last name.
That is true. One of my homegirls, I'm not gonna call her out. Well, Rachel. Sorry. She said every time I write my last name, that's a reminder that I was owned. And that was so powerful when she said it. You dig? So, I don't know what the right answer is. What I do know is that without the pressure that the public's been putting on the Minneapolis government, I don't think that they would have acted that fast to arrest that police officer. I don't think that without the protesting, they would have arrested that police officer. Now, let me say this. I've been following the news. I've been following the reports. A lot of these protesters that are creating damage, that are damaging property, this and that, they're not the actual protesters. These are what we call agent provocateurs. These are anarchists. These are right-wing groups. These are left-wing groups. These are groups that are flying under the Black rage, and they're just using that as an excuse to just mess things up. So I don't think that, you can't put all the ownership on us. There's been reports that there's been police that have been doing that. So I think that we need to really look at that. Check it. It's so easy to blame us, right? Because in the past, you've had the Watts riots. You've had the Ferguson uprising. You had the uprising in Baltimore. You dig? Like all these things. So of course, people are gonna immediately run to say, oh, well, it's just black tearing up their own neighborhoods. No, this one, we pretty much have proof that there's been agent provocateurs that are using this moment to just smash buildings and to just destroy things.
And not even just because they want to just destroy things. It's because you have a common enemy, and not only that, you have we haven't had money in a long time, right? For about 2 to 3 months. So you've been depressed. You haven't been working. Not everyone got that $600 extra.
Right. It's on there. It's this cauldron that just. That's a really good point. You got folks that have been out of work, folks is tired of being cooped up. We're just like, yo, you know what? And this was the tipping point. Look, again, you can't keep like just being you cannot consistently oppress people and think that they're gonna take it. Like, this is
I want to make this clear. Who are we specifically talking about? Because, are we angry at all white people? Is it all white people that we mad at? Or is it cops, white cops that we mad at? Because, if I'm not a black individual and you're talking about, white people, I would think that you were talking about me. And it's like, I'm not racist. I love black people. So who are you talking to, Who are you mad at?
All right, so let me be clear. I can only speak for myself. I'm an ADOS black person, which means American descendant of slavery. I'm mad at the system, right? The whole system is corrupt. See, I don't think of racism as just one person. I think of a collective system. The great Neely Fuller, he talked about there's different branches of racism. There's law, there's education, there's the economy. There's all these different facets of racism that affect black people, right? And because of that, we can't just be focused on just, oh, well, this is just work. Listen, the police and law enforcement, this is just a byproduct of it. You dig? Like, this is just one part of it. This isn't a vacuum. Like, this just didn't happen. It's just a facet of it. So I just want to make that clear. Like, so, excuse me. Sorry, my neck is killing me today. When we talk about racism, we need to be talking about systemic oppression here. Stuff that has gone back generations, like since 1619. Like, and what I want people to understand, Erica, is that racism, to quote the great Dr. Tommy Curry of The Man Not, he talks about racism being very dynamic, how it bursts, how it changes. The great Michelle Alexander, author of The New Jim Crow, discussed how racism takes many different forms throughout our time here, from slavery, Reconstruction, the Black Codes, Jim Crow, the Civil Rights Movement, the war on drugs, now mass incarceration, aka 21st century slavery. So we're fighting it all. On your program, you talk a lot about homeless. If you go through San Francisco today, the majority of the homeless are black men. That's because of racism. San Francisco, I believe has about, black men have a 54% unemployment rate. That's because of racism. Look, Yvette Carnell of Breaking Brown once said that when you have numbers this large, it's no longer an individual choice, but a systemic.
I just think that the establishments down here need to be turned the fuck up. Because we march way too much and protest way too much, and we sit, cry, bitch and moan about the same thing every time this happened. I had just been sitting back. I hadn't said nothing throughout the year. But I'm all for beating shit out of cops and shit. Fuck that. The bully gotta get his ass whooped sometime, or else the bully gonna beat your ass every time.
So we're circling it back to racism being a systemic problem. This isn't just one problem. This isn't just one white man out on the street yelling, the N-word. This is a system that ushers my people into the ghetto. This is a system that detains undocumented Latinx folks, detains them like animals. You dig? So this isn't just the police. I'm mad at it all.
So it's not just one specific. So what about the individual? What about your friends that's not white, right, and that's not speaking up during this time? Do you feel like they're obligated? Do you feel like they should not say something?
Yes. Listen, Erica, I'm gonna keep it funky, right? So I got into it with a friend of mine yesterday. I'm like, hold up. So you date black people, you work around black people. Do you have black friends? Why are you not speaking up on about this? Because that just proves. So look, if you love black people, you have to love everything, right? I mean, not only our music, the way we look, our swag, whatever you want to call it, but you also have to be involved in our issues. You have to care. You have to fight amongst us. Otherwise, you're phony baloney. Like people say, LeRon, I don't know what to do. Look, man, there's resources out there. One group I want to plug, Surge. That's SURJ. That's standing up for racial justice. It's a group of good white folks out there that are educating other white folks about racism. So
I love you on this show too.
Yeah, there's Asians for Black Lives. There's groups like that, man. So you can't say, I don't know, or this doesn't touch me. No, you got to get off the fence. For me, Erica, I'm a very black and white kind of person. This is a binary. You is or you ain't. And that's a little hood saying. You know what I mean? Either you is or you ain't. So my friend Kenny and I, we always joke, ain't no fence riding in the hood, and that's 100% true. You got to get with it. I'm sorry,
right.
And if you don't, well then you can't come around. Other black folks may think, hey, it's cool, whatever. But for me, you got to be all in, man.
Okay, so let's say you all in and you getting with it, right? And
right.
The people that's actually getting with it is wanting to destroy the properties. That's not us actually defending ourselves like Black Lives Matter. You actually trying to destroy our representation at the same time. So how do you feel like?
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So how do you feel? How can you differentiate the people that's actually for us, vice versa, the people that's out there just to make a statement for their own selves?
That's a really good point, man. So I'm gonna keep it all the way live with you. I'm not out there. I've done my time protesting, so I don't know what's accurately going on the ground with my two eyes. I can only go off of what people who I trust their word. They're letting me know, all right, LeRon, this is what it is down there. And
I can't wait to show you that, because just yesterday I was on the ground We was just doing a protest
Right.
in here in San Francisco, and then late at night, I got some footage too as well. So it would be
Okay,
interesting to
that's
let
what's up.
the
Let me see.
world
Let me
know.
see that.
Yeah, it will be definitely on the show too as well. You will see it um, at this point where we're talking. But it's really interesting to see that it's a lot of it's not a lot of Black people that's out there. Is other race out there as well. And
Well, no. I mean, it's like, like, look, man. Like, Black folks, like, we've been getting our asses kicked. Look, like, we look. If you look at a lot of these protests, right, the majority of the people, if there's, say, 200 white people out there, there's 50 black folks. 42 of them Black folks is going to be going to jail because we are going to be targeted. That's just pretty much what it is. You know, I'm a writer. I'm not a protester. I document stuff. What's going on? You know, one thing about the movement, Erica, there's so many ways. There's so many areas to play. You know, some people are financiers. Some people are organizers. Some people are speakers. I'm a writer. Some people are filmmakers. Some people are musicians. There's not one way to, quote unquote, fight the people. You know, some people are lawyers. You know, some people feed the folks. You dig? So there's more than one way to fight.
To tell your story and help.
Exactly. Bingo.
You said
exactly.
So what does social impact mean to you? What's next? What does social impact mean to you after this? For the COVID-19, you know, because it's going to be some racial bias between that. Will you get the medicine first, or will that person get the medicine first? You know, so how? Yeah.
That's like, you know, we're watching it unfold. Look, we already know that with COVID-19, the population that's hit the hardest in San Francisco is the Latino community. You know, and that just kind of shows like that there's going to be this sort of racial bias there. I don't know what's going to happen. I know that right now there are tests rolling out as we speak. Young man, it's pretty cool. John Jacobo, I believe that's how I pronounce his name. Shout out to John. He's doing testing in the mission. I believe him and his group, they went to the Bayview to start testing. I believe that there's testing in the Tenderloin, but it's sort of like trickling out, right? You know what I mean? It's sort of like slow. It's sort of like slowly coming out. When will we see a vaccine? I don't know. I mean, it's like it's a lot of this. You're like, we just don't know. We just don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So the social impact. If I were a guessing man, I would say that the rich and elite will get it first, and those with the least will get it last.
So how do you feel? Do you feel like the COVID-19 rates will go higher due to the fact that people outside protesting as we speak right now? Do you feel like the rates?
Oh yeah. Yes. 100% yes. I don't see a lot of, again, much love to everyone that's protesting. Y'all out there, man. I'm seeing y'all. I'm showing y'all wild love. Because we're in the midst of a pandemic, we still don't know how COVID-19 is spread. Some people feel that it's an airborne disease. Whatever. It's bound to spread. So I mean, like, you know,
So it's like you're picking your poison right now. You're picking your poison. Either to die from COVID-19 or die from a bullet.
Well, I mean, like, so being a black man in America, you know, that's always in the back of your head. So I mean, COVID-19. I don't want to be cavalier because I understand the significance behind it, right? You know, the fact that government has shut down so many things means that it's real. This is not a conspiracy theory. You know, COVID-19 exists. It's just that, you know, Black folks, we're so used to being under attack, moving around, that it's like this is just something else. I mean, how do you feel about it, Erica?
I'm really afraid, honestly. Just yesterday, when I went out to, do a peaceful protest, I got very emotional. I'm just like, all of this because of us, and it's just very emotional. And I just think about, is it really going to change? Are we going to just do that? And then, a couple weeks later, another guy gets shoot. You know what I mean? It's just too emotional. We got our own problems that we try to deal with. And then when you just see this, it's just very, emotional. And I'm a Black mother. And then when he call out mom, all that, it's like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to be involved. I don't even want to talk, to anyone at this point. And how do you feel as a Black man just waking up every day? Besides, because that's a good point. Like besides COVID-19, what is your typical mindset as a Black individual just waking up trying to be productive?
Well, I mean, I know that I live in a system of racism, and because of that, I know that challenges. There's going to be more challenges. Like, look, every day something happens, right? I can just see something. Either it's going to happen to me or it's going to happen to somebody else, but it happens. You dig? And I see it, and it's like I just have to realize that because I'm Black, I can be. Author Tariq Nasheed once said, "You don't have to be convicted of a crime to commit a crime, right?" And because I'm 6'2", I have shoulders. I'm a dark-skinned Black man. I'm automatically looked at as scary. And one thing that I want everyone to understand when you're listening to Erica's wonderful program is that no matter how you walk, talk, act, or dress, you're Black. So I know that in the back of my mind, like I operate in a world that is extremely hostile towards me. So I wake up every day knowing that. Just imagine this albatross. I'm sorry. I shouldn't call it an albatross. Just imagine every day you have this sort of field in front of you to where you have to sort of get around that and to do your job. Like it's ridiculous. Like it's tough, but that's the cost of Blackness. So I don't complain about it. I mean some days are better than others. Today, yes, and well, yesterday was Friday, has been kind of tough. So it's just I gotta deal with it.
It's like you will personally, get over it. You might have like an incident at work where someone is like being racist, or you might be at a job for 20 years and you never got that, promotion. But then bring someone else in, from outside, and then now you're looking on the news and then you see a Black boy that got shot. It's just, and then you try to be, professional at work. For someone that's Black, how can you be professional at work? Any tips on how to stay stable and maintain and just positive?
First off, understand that again, we live in a system of racism, white supremacy. Understand, just expect, like don't surprise when racism occurs. Don't just kind of expect it. Like, take the emotion out of it. And what I mean by that is like, if something happens, you go, oh, okay, well, I expected that to happen. Look, like these things, these shootings, the coronavirus infection rates being higher amongst, other groups than others, you're supposed to happen. This country's built on racism, white supremacy, so that's supposed to happen. Also, I would say learn the law. keep a cool head, man. Like when you take the emotion out of it, you're able to approach it in a more logical way. I know that's easier said than done. Some days, just like, these last 3 days, I've been kind of emotional about it because, it just weighs on you so much. But, you have to know where you are, man, and what I also recommend is to build community with other Black men, with other Black people. No person is an island. I think therapy is mandatory. Like I see a therapist. Like I think mental health is such an underrated facet of our lives that needs to be addressed on a regular basis. We need to see somebody going to
Every
see a
Black
therapist.
person needs some
Oh my God,
mental
listen,
health at this
like
point.
the amount of the amount of stuff that we go through, Erica. Like, just imagine you are going to see somebody that has the tools to help you out, that just doesn't know you from a can of paint, totally unbiased, and is like, I'm for an hour, for 55 minutes, however long, I'm dedicated to helping you out and to listening to you. That's priceless. You cannot pay enough for psychological help, because a lot of things, when they are not addressed, they start to compound. Trust me, I know this from personal experience. When you don't address something early, it's going to get bigger. And so this is why I'm a major proponent for mental health awareness.
And I like what you said, that if you don't address it early, then it's going to basically be a big chaos. And that's going back to the community, right? So people were saying, why are you messing up the community? Why are you throwing fires in the community, on your own community? But so when you think of it, it's really not the Black people community.
Exactly.
They don't own any of those properties. It doesn't affect Black people. It doesn't affect Black people due to the fact that we didn't own anything, right? So if we had shared ownership, then maybe we wouldn't do none of this type of damages.
See, here's the thing. Like, whenever I hear that, Erica, I always ask, like, well, were you equally as pissed when Mr. Floyd had a knee on his neck? How about Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Walter Scott, Philando Castile, also in Minnesota, I might add. Mike Brown, Alton Sterling. Like, I mean, I can just rattle off names. You were not concerned about these men losing their life. Hell, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor. Like, we can be here all day straight up. So I didn't see that vigor, that just rage from, oh my God, these Black folks are just getting killed for a living. Like, I mean, I didn't see that. But I see you getting mad over an AutoZone. Hey, I don't own a car. But I mean, it's like, but I do like Target. But still though, you're like, where's the rage from that? So, there's a great Tupac interview, and it's so apropos. Tupac goes, we walk up to someone's door, excuse me, we're hungry. You don't answer. Knock a little harder. Excuse me, we're hungry. You don't answer. Then we start banging. Excuse me, we hungry. You don't answer. Finally, we don't even knock. We just kick the door down. That's what's happening right now.
And I also think it's because these businesses never treated us as well either. Same businesses, as soon as we go in there, we get followed, we get treated bad. You know what I mean? Like, do you have even when we have our card, can I see our ID? You know what I mean? We've seen all these different incidents with these businesses as well. So it's just like, it's never been a real respect between the businesses. You got Honda, breaking into in Oakland, when Honda is a company that not gives out, but what Black people use. And we just noticed that they give us high interest rates. So we don't care about those type of people because you just
crazy. yeah, no, like, there's no loyalty, man. Like, come on. Like, look, those things can be rebuilt. George Floyd can never get his life back. So I just want people to think about that. So, there's no amount of businesses that is worth a human life. I'm
So
sorry, like,
what do you think, Tyler Perry? Because it's not organized, right? Right now, back like it's different generations. You have the slave generations, and then you have probably like my generation, right? And then you have
right,
this newer generation, which is basically the after class of the aftermath of the slavery. So they just hear from your grandma, you just hear from your mom about what's going on, and all you hear is from your grandma saying, "It's okay, baby. My son just died and we're just going to fix it." So do you feel we need to be more organized, and who needs to organize this agenda?
I man, like, I don't think like that. I kind of like the
And this is the last question here.
yes, yeah, yes. Okay, okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Man, like, I like the fact that it's not. I like that it's a leaderless movement. I don't think that a celebrity needs to be ahead of nothing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Listen, I don't. Please just don't put a microphone in front of no one that has not said anything remotely politically intelligent. Don't do it. The great Malcolm X once said that in the Black community, our leaders are always entertainers and athletes. We don't need. I don't need to hear from a rapper. I don't care what Tyler Perry thinks. Do you know who I do care about what grassroots leaders think. I do care about what people who are putting in the work day after day after day. There's a sister out of Oakland, and I know her, like, and her name is Candace. She works with the East Oakland. I am so sorry, Candace, for forgetting your last name, but I want to hear from people like her. You know what I mean? I don't care about a celebrity, because they're living in a different world. You did, like, they have people to wake them up and to wash them up. I gotta go to work every single day, and brave these streets. Sorry, straight up.
Wow, you are amazing. This is really
Thank
amazing. And do you have
thank
any final thoughts to the community right now about anything to stay positive and motivated?
Yes, ma'am. I would say to everybody, you're especially to my Black folks, to just my beautiful brown people out there, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just living. All right. You are you are existing, and that is pissing people off. So keep existing. Be yourself. Look, don't conform. Keep your mother tongue. Look, I don't code switch. You dig? I I talk slang. I can use 50-cent words like apathy and regeneration all day long. But this is how I talk. I would say know your rights. Go to therapy. Build community, and just know that man, like, just know that life is not promised, especially when you have this skin color. Just know that, and that's all I got to speak on.
And to the
Power
white
to the
people that
people.
do want to help, and to the white people that do want to help, what is
Hit
your advice?
look, I everybody got these, right? You dig? Those are computers. People need to get on those computers and learn. Stop asking Black folks what what can I do. You need to start doing your work. You need to start looking up stuff. Read about the great Malcolm X. Stop quoting Dr. Martin Luther King all the time. Read France Fanon. read more of, just instead of quoting James Baldwin, quote Dr. Tommy Curry. Like, yo, like there's, Ida B. Wells, learn about Fannie Lou Hamer, read about Che Guevara, read about Dolores Huerta, whose birthday was recent, Cesar Chavez, Yuri Kochiyama. Read about those people, educate yourself, start looking inward and, wrestling with that racism that you got inside you. Organize with white people. Start calling racism out. That's just a couple things. And everything else is going to cost you. So, we're not doing it for free no more. Straight like that.
That's right. That's correct. Thank you so much for attending this show. And you guys just learned a whole bunch of tips. There's no excuses. And next time on The Homeless Diary, this is Erica Mosley, and your name is?
LeRon Barton. I'm super jazzed to be on here. Y'all be easy.
Thank you.
Maybe if Martin Luther King still been alive, we wouldn't be having this bullshit. Y'all ain't thought about that though. You know what I mean? This is what Malcolm is trying to prevent.
Not in the direction that it was taken. And we had too many infiltrators a part of it. So I became an extremist. So people that's looting and rioting, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm with it. Because I just think that the establishments down here need to be turned the fuck up. Because we march way too much and protest way too much, and we sit, cry, bitch and moan about the same thing every time this happens. I had just been sitting back. I hadn't said nothing throughout the year. But I'm all for beating shit out of cops and shit. Fuck that. The bully gotta get his ass whooped sometime, or the bully gonna beat your ass every time. If you don't like it, I don't give a fuck what you like. We gotta deal with this shit. Most of y'all don't have to deal with this shit. I don't care.
Where's Shimon and Kelly even go? Come on. Let's go. I'm irritated. I split up with all you hoes. Bitch, I couldn't find you. Y'all left me. I'm the one. Right here. Look at y'all. She don't even show me right here. That's irritating. But if I see y'all left me at the door and I split up with her because the police started marching, but you have the bag. Y'all could have snatched my shit. Everybody peaceful now. Bitch, we up, you this quick.
Expecting a war or something?
They going to war with their own people, but they're supposed to protect us.
Our streets! Our streets!
Our streets! Our streets! Our streets! Our streets! Our streets! Our streets! Our streets! Fuck the police! Fuck the police! Fuck the police!
Look at them. They're like they're ready to hurt something. It's all about intimidation. Come on. Let's go. We got a long walk ahead of us.
It's more powerful than one. A thousand is more powerful than one. Learn how to work with people and make things happen. And learn not to fight with people. Because y'all come here and y'all act like y'all put it. And I hope y'all are. All I have to ask is all I am a black woman, but I'm also Latina. All my Latinos to address the anti-blackness in our community. Black in our music and our everything, and don't erase that. Remember that black people exist in our community. And if y'all are really about this, this is more than just posting on Instagram, a hashtag, a
Ayy, chill. It's Tiggy. Turn it. Oh, yeah. I told y'all I was coming. Thought I was playing, huh? Hey, I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood and hope I'm living good. I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood and hope I'm living good. I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood and hope I'm living good. I said one day I be on, one day I be good. One day make it out the hood. Hope I'm living. Now have you ever had a dream? You make it out the hood. Ayy.